We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. It is Thursday when you hear this on the podcast, but this is a TikTok live on Wednesday night. And there's plenty of shit to talk about, all the things happening. Of course, I'm in Minnesota, as you know, and we had this tragedy earlier today. It was Annunciation School and Church in South Minneapolis. Now, I grew up in South Minneapolis, very familiar with the area. It's not a sketchy, it's not a bad area, it's a good area. But at this school/church, there was a shooting. There was a shooting from a young person that was outside the building, apparently blockaded the door so nobody could get out of the church. A bunch of people, plenty of kids, literally in pews praying in their first mass of the year. This person started shooting into the church through the stained glass windows. When it was all said and done, there were two people that have died, children, 8 and 10 years old. 17 others were injured and were hospitalized. And it's just a fucking ridiculous, tragic situation. This should not be happening. Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, came out and said, I don't want to hear thoughts and prayers or any of that shit. And he's absolutely right. All these things happened over and over again. And the one group of people that could do something about it, our Congress, refuses to do it. Specifically the Republicans, but some of the Democrats are complicit as well. Every time there is a mass shooting in a school, people say, thoughts and prayers. It's not the time to deal with it now, but later. And that later never comes. And more children die. More children are injured. Now, a lot of people will talk about who the shooter was. And we didn't know at first. It turns out it was somebody by the name of Robin Westman, 23 years old, a young person. Now, the thing about this young person is that she was born Robert Westman, and she transitioned to being a female. A lot of people want to make something out of that is a factor in this situation. It is not. This is somebody who is mentally off, certainly. And of course, this country has pretty much cast aside the mentally disabled, back as far as Ronald Reagan, closing facilities and limiting the help. So we run into these situations. Now, whether this person was transgender, black, white, Jewish, Catholic, it doesn't really matter what they were. That's not the issue here. The issue is how easy it is to get guns. People want to play on that Second Amendment that it suggests that everybody can have as many guns as they want and they can do whatever they want. There are more guns in this country than there are people. It's out of control. And every time something like this happens, you think, okay, this will be the one thing that gets people to do something about it. But time after time, Republicans specifically, but Democrats as well, refuse to do anything. Apparently, they're okay with young people dying. Now, my kids are grown up. They're in their 30s. They're not going to school. But I do have grandchildren. I have my granddaughter who's going to go to kindergarten this fall. I've got another younger child, a few months old, and he won't be going to school for a while. But the idea that you can't send your kid to school and not know for sure if they're going to come home or if they're safe, that's unacceptable. In this country or anywhere, that's fucking unacceptable. And people are getting frustrated or anywhere, that's fucking unacceptable. And people are getting frustrated with it. And of course, our members of Congress continue to do nothing about it. And with the current reign of power in Congress, you can be assured absolutely nothing will happen because the Republicans control the House and the Senate and, of course, the presidency. So people will shake their heads and say, oh, that's so sad. And we'll just wait till the next one fucking happens. All right, I've got two people with me right now. They're with me every time. They are moderators, and they also sit on the panel, and we talk amongst ourselves with all the other people that come through. I have TJ the plumber and Rebecca. Welcome. You guys no doubt heard about this news story here in my home state, in my hometown, literally in the area I grew up in. It was unbelievable. I didn't even believe it when I first heard it because I didn't think something like that would happen here, but fuck me.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It really is. It's a horrifying situation that that keeps happening again and again and again. And you know, I was talking to a friend of mine today at work, and Rebecca and I both own pew-pews, I guess is what we got to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we both are owners of those, and we're responsible owners of those. We have a gun safe and a safe, and they are stored in that safe, and they're locked in that safe. And I was telling a friend of mine today, I said, why can't we just have some common sense gun reform? You know, and part of that is, and I was explaining it. I'm like, you know, if I want to purchase a pew-pew, and I go to the store to purchase that item, I don't have any objection with filling out the paperwork and then having a 3-day wait. Because sometimes people get upset about things. And I'm going to tell you right now, in the state of Pennsylvania, it's like clockwork if you want to make that purchase. You go in there, you fill out a paper, it takes 5 minutes, and you're done.
Yep. The only time you have to wait is if you want to special order that.
Well, or if there's a problem, you know, if something comes up in, you know, sometimes there's issues with people that have the same name as other people that are, not allowed, but
yes, but as a general rule, like there's no, if it's you're buying off the shelf or whatever, there's generally not a wait. You walk in, you fill out the paper, right. You walk out.
Which is what I was saying today to my coworker, is that, you know, I don't have anything in my record that would preclude me from purchasing that item, but if I have to pay for it and wait the 3 days or a week, or I don't have a problem with that, because that's just common sense. I mean, if these people get a hair up their ass about something and they're upset, you know, sometimes I get pissed off about stuff and I make a bad decision, but, you know, nobody gets hurt, but, you know, that's not a bad deal. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And I don't know why these motherfuckers have such a problem with that. It's just, it makes sense to be able to give people a cooling off period, if, you know, to stop something from, you know, something tragic like this from happening. I mean, that's
other states have, I feel much better rules. Much better rules. Like in New Jersey, you wait a long time, and to get, and you have two separate licenses. You have one for a pistol, and every time you want, and that pistol, you have
pew-pew.
One license for one. Oh, sorry, pew-pew. You have one license for one
handheld pew-pew.
Handheld pew-pew, and you have a separate license for a long pew-pew, which includes your the things that go in the pew-pew. And every time you want a handheld pew-pew, you have to get a different license for it, and it takes months to get it.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. State laws are fine. State laws are fine, but we need federal laws. And here's why. Because if you're in Illinois and you've got strong pew-pew laws, I fucking hate that I have to say that. It's fucking childish.
I know.
No, it is. It really is. It's fucking stupid.
We don't want to get taken down, though, so, you know.
Right. No, I get that. But it's fine if you've got the strong laws in Chicago, but if in Indiana anybody can buy a fucking gun and come into town, the state laws don't really matter. That's why Congress has to act on this situation.
Yeah.
That's why Congress has to do something, because we can have the state laws, but the federal laws are going to create some control. I mean, think about this. If I'm 16 years old and I want to get a driver's license, that's potentially dangerous. A car could be a dangerous weapon if operated improperly. So I have to go through training. I have to take a test. I have to take behind the wheel. Then I have to take another test. And then they give me the privilege of driving. If we're that
Right.
careful with vehicles, can't we be a little more careful with pew-pews? I mean, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, it's not that
Well-
hard to fucking figure out.
Yeah, and it's really more complicated too, because there's a lot of things that go on. For example, a state that is very relaxed, like maybe Pennsylvania or Alabama or one of these other states, they end up getting straw buyers, and the straw buyers will go and buy
Yeah.
a huge amount of those items, and then they'll transfer them illegally out of state. Well, with the long ones, maybe not so much, but with the handheld ones, you're not, most states you're not supposed to take them in and out of, in between states and make transactions with them. So they'll have straw buyers that buy all these up, and then they go and they don't follow the rules of the state. Like in the state of Pennsylvania, if you have a handheld one of those, you're supposed to, if you sell that to someone, you're supposed to go to an FFL dealer and you're supposed to transfer that item with the registration to that person.
Yeah.
And that's not what's happening. They're straw buying up all these things and taking them out of state from, Illinois or from Indiana to Illinois, and then they're illegally selling them. And that's why you're right. There needs to be some type of standard that everyone has to follow, because it's not working, because all the states are all different.
Yeah.
I go to, I've been to those shows that they have where they have all these items, and there is a very lackadaisical way that these things are done. And I've actually seen videos where minors actually purchase those items, and they shouldn't have. And they made it a secret video where these minors were purchasing these items. That's the stuff that needs cracked down on, and the penalties need to be severe, because that's the only way you're going to curb it.
Absolutely.
Super secret accountant and I, he's in the chat, are going back and forth about New Jersey, and he's like, so New Jersey's gun laws are stricter, and I'm like, oh yes. He's like, is there crime down? I'm like, gun crime down? I'm like, hell no. Like New Jersey, like there's literally, if you go to Newark or Patterson, like there's a shooting every day. Are they legal? No, hell no. Is there gun crime down? No, not at all. So like that whole federal, like they're getting guns in anyway. It's just that they're legal pew-pews. God, so horrible. But yes, they're like that whole federal law, or like like they just get them like over the border or in different ways. So you're right. Like,
Well, there's no
laws.
consistency between the
Yeah.
states. There's no consistency. So like,
No, there's none.
and that's part of the problem. And I'm not saying that you have to wait 5 months. I mean, for law-abiding citizens, it doesn't make sense. With hunting rifles, and maybe it can be different. But some of the other ones that accept, higher capacity things and what have you, there needs to be a little bit more tighter reins on that. And I'm an avid owner of those things, and I still agree with that, because that'll crack down on some of this nonsense. And the thing that's even worse now is that people are 3D printing these ghost pew-pews, and that's even worse.
Yeah.
Because they're not traceable.
Absolutely. Now, there's a gentleman in the comments. His name is Turner. He says there are many more responsible than not. I'm not trying to talk shit about you, Turner, but that's a typical excuse of somebody. Well, there's a lot of good ones too. Yeah, but there's fucking kids dying. Okay, and I don't care if there are other there obviously are better gun owners, but we can't trust all gun owners because we get situations like this. And we can't count on our government to do anything about it. Let's take a look at what happened today. We've got a church, a school, some guy comes with a pew, 3 pews exactly, and shoots a bunch of people. 2 kids
Right.
die. That's going on in Minneapolis.
And
The National Guard is in Washington, D.C. right now picking up fucking trash. So tell me the government's doing something about this shit.
right. And the other thing too is there needs to be some accountability for parents not doing what they're supposed to do and do things the right way. And like some of these kids that, like that woman, I forget which incident it was, but the woman provided that pew to her son. She provided it to him, and then he went and committed that crime, right? She
Yeah.
should be solely responsible for that, because she's the one that facilitated that to happen. And that there needs to be culpability to parents that don't do the right thing.
Oh, for sure.
Well, and there was all kinds of social media stuff out there that the day or a couple days before, why wasn't something happen there with social media? I mean, they're going to kick me off if I say the wrong word, but this dumb fuck can go out and show off pictures of these pews and make all these fucking crazy claims. He's free to do whatever he wants to do. If I say one wrong word, then I get suppressed or kicked off. That's what's fucking wrong here.
Right. No, you're right.
It's very frustrating. I'm going to pull somebody up here. I don't know this gentleman, so I don't know what we're getting. The name is 2nd Infantry, so it'll be interesting to see if he comes up. 2nd Infantry, you're on, and what's on your mind?
Good evening. Hey, Rational, I've watched a lot of your content and I really like it. I've been following
Thank
you
you.
for about a year now. First of all,
You had me nervous there for a second. With a name like 2nd Infantry, it could have gone either way. So I'm appreciative that you're a friend, not a foe.
yeah, I am a friend. Thank you very much for allowing me to come on your live. Let me give you some background on myself. As my
Okay.
tag name implies, I am a veteran of the United States Army Infantry, 2nd Infantry Division, Korea, from 77 to 1981.
Okay.
I am 66 years of age. I am originally from New York City, but I reside in Florida. I have worked with law enforcement in San Antonio, Texas, and I have worked with law enforcement in the hunter education program in Florida for the old Florida Game and Freshwater Fish Commission, where it was required that anyone that wanted to go hunting born after 1971 had to attend a 2-day, 16-hour course in the use of a pew in the wild for hunting purposes. It covered the laws, security, all those things, first aid, wilderness survival, the whole 9 yards. So it was pretty involved. Unfortunately, we have a government that has very limited abilities when it comes to states' rights. And states, for some reason, they think that the Second Amendment is, some directive from the Lord himself. And
Right.
they figured, that their logic is you should have a firearm no matter what, and you don't have to be responsible for it. And that's to say that an adult over the age of 21 can buy a handheld pew. And if you're a teenager or something like that and you're using it for hunting purposes, then you can have a long pew.
Right.
Some states allow you to open carry, which I do not agree with. Some states allow you to have them in your vehicles, and some states allow you to keep them in your homes. In the northern states, a lot of the blue states, I find that the restrictions that they've imposed on the general public are a lot more rigid than the red states. And that's a problem too. This is a thought I had many years ago, around Columbine. If a person wants to obtain one of these things, whether it's long or short, they should have a background check. They should have, psychological evaluation before they're allowed to have these things for whatever reason. And they have to go through training to have them. What I would really like to see is that there be a bond, an insurance bond on every single one of these things. Because if you got insurance companies involved and something like this occurs, when the money has to come out of the insurance company's back pocket to pay out for damages, you're going to see that the insurance companies are going to do a better background check and analyze a person's ability to have something than any law enforcement agency in a lot of ways, because they're going to spend the money to protect their investment.
It's sad to say that because of the terror and the tragedy these things create, the deaths that are caused, that the one thing that's going to stop this sort of thing is costing people money. You're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%, but it's a sad commentary on this country that that's what it's going to take to fucking fix this situation.
Yeah, and if you ever notice that the insurance industries is the only industry in America that is legally capable of discriminating against a person based on age, geographic location, and gender. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure that an insurance company would probably put some fail-safes in there, like you have to have a way to secure this little device. You're going to get a better discount if you've got an alarm system. If you live out in the country, you're less likely to be vandalized and have these things taken from your property. So, I think there's some logic to that. What do you think about that, Rational?
I'm not sure. When this happened, it just took me by surprise. I'm just so frustrated by everything. I mean, this has gone on for decades, this sort of thing, and nothing's been done. There's a lot of good ideas out there, but unless Congress actually does it, it's going to continue. And there's no reason to think that they're going to do anything because they haven't done anything before. Sandy Hook, Columbine, Uvalde, they haven't done anything. And I'm at the point where the only thing that can possibly happen here to change things is to completely, in 2026 and in 2028, wipe these Republicans away and hope there's enough Democrats that have enough common sense and enough decency to pass legitimate laws. Because it's not just Republicans who have put us in this situation. There are some Democrats as well. And we've got a lot of them in there, whether it be AIPAC or whether it be NRA. There's a lot of money flowing in Congress, and it's flowing through Republicans, but also Democrats too. When it comes down to this, it's all about money, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Unfortunately, it's not about our kids.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. 2nd Infantry, I want to thank you for coming on. I really do, because I didn't really want to talk about this because I knew the TikTok gods wouldn't like this conversation, and I don't really give a fuck, to be perfectly honest with you. But I wanted to talk about it. We've got plenty of other things to talk about as well, with what's going on in D.C., the CDC, all this shit happening. Thank you very much for coming on, and please, you're welcome anytime to come back.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Rebecca and TJ, we'll probably continue to talk about these tragedies like what happened in Minneapolis today as time goes on. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, probably on my regular podcast where I don't have the restrictions that I might have here. But there's so many other things going on. One positive story I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if you've heard this. You know how they say when a prosecutor brings something to the grand jury they could get an indictment on a ham sandwich. You've heard that before, right? Because it's a
Sure.
one-sided affair. It's just all the prosecutor throwing out all the shit, and they go, yeah, indict that motherfucker.
Right.
So anyway, we know the story about D.C., where some gentleman was frustrated by the ICE agents and other law enforcement that it was in D.C., and he got so frustrated he took his sub sandwich and hit a cop with it. Okay?
Right.
Pretty funny, actually.
Everyone's seen the video.
Right, everybody's
Attack
seen the
with
video.
deadly weapon, yes.
And of course, the Republicans turned this into a felony assault on a police officer. The guy offered to turn himself in. They said, no, you can't turn yourself in. Instead, they had to stage some performance where 20 officers go to his house and drag him out of the house. They
Right.
bring him back to a judge. And the judge kind of laughs at that and says, you can go off on your own recognizance and no bail. He wasn't
Right.
taking it too seriously. Then Donald Trump places the drunken TV clown, Janine Pirro, as a prosecutor in Washington, D.C., right? So Janine Pirro takes this case to the grand jury. Felony assault against a police officer. We want him indicted.
Right.
And rarities of all rarities, the grand jury said, yeah, no, we
Nah.
don't see that. We're not going to indict him. They'd indict a ham sandwich, but they won't indict the guy for hitting somebody with a sandwich. This
Well,
is just
yeah.
how ridiculous the Republicans are and how they're trying to make a show out of everything they fucking do.
Yeah, and don't forget that this guy threw a ham sandwich at a police officer, but Donald Trump pardoned 1,500 people that beat the fuck out of the police on January 6th.
Right. The real tragedy in that assault by this guy with the sandwich, it was an absolute waste of a perfectly good sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck's sake, you probably paid $10 for the goddamn thing.
Yeah, so have you been to Subway lately? Jesus Christ.
I know.
Poor guy ruined his lunch.
Yeah, his lunch got fucked over that.
I'd like to look at it as that man sacrificed his lunch for justice in this country. We should put up a statue for that motherfucker.
Right, exactly.
It's absolutely crazy. Let's see who else we got here.
Everyone should send him $10 Subway gift cards.
We should. Well, I came up with the idea that when I thought this was a great promotional moment for Subway, and what they
Right.
should have done is they should have loaded up trucks with free Subway sandwiches, passed them out to everybody in the protest, and let everybody throw a sandwich at these ICE agents and these law enforcement. And since now they won't indict them for it, what's the problem? Why not do it?
Well, Mike, they're just trying to feed them. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
Okay, now
I love it. Real quick, I love it. All this nonsense about all the crime in D.C. And I got to tell you, I go to D.C. at least once a year, but usually it's twice a year. Okay?
yeah.
And when I go to Washington, D.C., I go there, I ride the public transportation, I ride the train into town, I go all through town. And you know what? And in the 15 years that I've been doing that, not one single time where I've been there and I'm walking around in the dark at night, I've never seen a crime committed in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Never
That's
once.
not to say they're not happening, but it's certainly not as dangerous as what Donald Trump would suggest.
That's what I'm saying.
is happening.
It's such bullshit. It's such absolute bullshit that they're saying. The National Guard's getting filmed picking up trash in the park. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's all for fucking show, and it's stupid.
It is a joke. Now, I have somebody back up here. It's an angry old broad. Now, before you get mad at me for calling this person an angry old broad, that's the name on her account. I'm assuming it's a her. Angry old broad, how are you doing, and what's on your mind tonight?
Hi, Mike. It's Gina from Massachusetts. I sent
Hey,
you
Gina.
a box a few years ago, but I'm calling because
What was in the box?
I think
What was
that a
in the
lot of the
box?
problem is mental illness, and I
Absolutely.
think we
Before you
need
go
to
on, what
deal
was in the
with.
what was in the box that you sent me?
Oh, a
Because
couple
people will
years
want to know.
ago, I sent you some cookies, and
That's right. That's right. That's
yeah.
right. They were good too. They were very good.
So,
Now, now, sorry to interrupt you. Go on. You were talking about mental
but
illness.
this is my first time ever calling, and what happened today just, I'm 68 years old. My son is 31, and I know that there's so many parents out there who are feeling.
Yeah.
I can't even express it, but I think that we need to deal with the hate and the mental illness in this country. I know guns are a big problem, but a sane person's not going to go to a school and shoot up little children. They're just not.
Absolutely. And we know the whole issue with mental illness and the lack of help for people that are mentally ill goes all the way back to around 1980 or the early 80s when Ronald Reagan was president and pretty much shut down all these facilities. And ever since, these people are out amongst us, some of them homeless and some of them dangerous and some of them thriving. But you're absolutely right. This is one of the many things that we need to address as a country. And we've been woefully lacking in attending to people with those issues.
Well, how can we fight it when we've got who we have running our country? I mean, that's just,
We can't. That's the
that's the
problem.
thing. There's so much hate and division. Just so much hate.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah,
not,
Hard to
unfortunately,
cope.
that's not going to be a thing that we can even address. Sadly, like there's so many things that we can do about, like, like mental health professionals working with the police officers when there's certain like domestic violence or like domestic issues or things that are like certain calls that come in where mental health professionals can go with the police to certain calls that can happen, like things like that can happen, that can be huge helps, but that's never going to happen under this administration. Like none of that can ever be implemented. It's just sad. It's horrible.
Well, and that's kind of going back to what we've talked about before. There's a certain faction of people. There's an epidemic of stupid in this country, and I'm not saying that flippantly. I mean that. There's stupid people in this country, ill-informed, uninformed, ignorant, or just unwilling to listen to anything. And unfortunately, we're at that point where we're kind of in a precarious position where everything can crash and burn. And I've talked to TJ and I've talked to Will and I've talked to other people. And sadly, it almost seems like it all has to burn down before some of these dumb fucks wake up. That's the unfortunate thing. And maybe that's the only way we get to where we need to get to, when things all come crashing down, whether it be the economy or our national security or kids in schools. When that all comes crashing down, maybe the people in this country, the dumb people in this country, will be willing to get out of a cult and vote properly so that we can actually get some things that benefit us and help keep us safe. But, you have Obama in, then you get a Republican, then you get Biden, then you get Donald Trump back. People, they don't understand what's going on and they don't understand the ramifications until they get bit in the ass. Well, now a lot of people are getting bit in the ass. The question is, will they learn from getting bit in the ass? And I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, I thought Sandy Hook would change things, and it never did. And it just feels hopeless right now. And I just wanted to call and just be one of those voices out there that something has to change. I don't know what's going to change, but
I,
I'm so happy that you're here, and all the people that I've met through you, I'm so thankful for. And keep doing what you're doing, and enjoy your grandchildren.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And I will tell you this. There's no money in feeling hopeless. There's no value in feeling hopeless, because at that point you've just given up. There's always going to be hope. and the hope comes from your willingness to fight. And it doesn't matter what you can do, just do what you can do. Speak out, make a call, send an email, whatever. As long as we keep fighting, there's always some hope, and that's the way you've got to look at it. Otherwise, then there's no point. But I appreciate your concerns, and I know a lot of people feel that way, and it's frustrating. I understand that. Angry old broad,
Thank you.
I appreciate
Take
you
care.
coming on, and
Keep up
feel
the
free to
fight.
come back anytime. Thank
I
you.
will. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. You know, that's the thing, Rebecca and TJ, that frustrates me the most and saddens me the most is I get people in comments or in DMs, and they are terrified and they are feeling hopeless. And what bothers me about that so much is if you feel scared and if you feel like you have no hope, that is exactly what the Republicans, the Trump-lafucks, and Donald Trump want to create in you. So by reacting that way, you give them a win, and I refuse to do that. I refuse to
Right.
give them a win. I'm going to make them
No.
fight to the fucking last
Yep, I agree.
point.
Hey, someone in the chat said the NRA owns the Republican Party, which is true. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys something. Remember how the NRA used to say that they're there to protect everyone's rights, so in the event of a tyrannical government, they can defend the country against tyranny?
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they?
Well, yeah, right.
Well, yeah. This is
Where
a
the
perfect.
fuck are they?
Well,
like-
and that the Second Amendment was really
I'm
put
pretty
in.
sure they're on the side of the tyrant. I could be wrong.
Well,
but-
well, that's the point. The point of the Second Amendment and a regulated militia, they put that in there not because everybody needed automatic weapons. That's not why they put it in there. They put it in there because they were a new country and they were a new government, and they knew that people could come along and be tyrants. And as long as people were armed and there were regulated militias, that you could fight against a bad government. And surprise,
Right.
surprise, the very people that support those laws now are the tyrants, as you pointed out. And
Right.
that's what's frustrating. It's
Well-
not there so you can go to schools or go to supermarkets. It's so you can push back against our government. And that's not even viable right now, given the level of weapons on either side. You could get a whole bunch of people with their own pew-pews, and it wouldn't be enough. So the whole concept is a fucking joke at this point.
Well, of course it is, but you would think that the U.S. government deploying the U.S. military on civilians would be a bridge too far for those motherfuckers. But I guess it's
You
not.
would think.
Yeah,
You would absolutely think so.
Well,
I'm going to pull up Trucker T
it
here.
will be. It will be if he starts doing it in like Alabama.
Well, and it sounds like he's talking about doing that, going into red states, and I think that will be the fatal flaw of Donald Trump,
Yeah, me
because
too, I agree.
people
Yeah.
people might say, "Oh God, I can't wait till they come in here and deal with the illegal immigrants and the criminals and stuff." But when they start hauling away their friends and family and the merchants in their town, you're going to see a bunch of people that are armed that aren't happy with the situation. We're seeing people already being angry with the Trump administration for things they didn't think they would feel affected by. So by going into those red states, if in fact they do that, it's going to cause some serious problems, and they'll probably implode on themselves without Democrats doing anything. Trucker T's here. Hey, Trucker, what's up, man?
Hey, Mike, TJ,
T.
Rebecca, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good T, how are you?
Hey, I am fantastic. I had a couple things that gives me a little angst, and I want to get your thoughts on, Mike. One I talked about yesterday, where I saw a report that, I mean, I'm sure that they're already doing this, but they finally said the quiet part out loud, where ICE is now going to start going into neighborhoods asking for documentation, meaning going to courtrooms, going to detention centers, and also right through the neighborhoods. So
Right.
I'm wondering, are they going to be going like door to door? You know what I mean? To put more fear into to us.
Well, I think they've
know that-
already done that to a certain extent. I think they've knocked on doors, with places they thought brown people might be and asking for documentation. And, like TJ said, when is the bridge too far? Where is the fucking red line? There doesn't seem to be a red line for any of these idiots.
I saw a video of a couple of women in D.C. screaming, for people with ICE agents were in the neighborhood and they were screaming for people, stay in your house, you do not have to come out. Like screaming, stay in your house, you do not have to come out. You have no reason to come out, because they were ICE agents were there. They screaming, where are your warrants? You don't have warrants, telling people not to come out of their houses because they were there to basically try to get people to come out so they could just take them.
Right, but that's my issue with that. Well, my issue with that is, before they were saying, hey, we've got active warrants, blah, blah, blah. Now they're saying, we don't give two shits about a warrant, we're coming, right? And that's where the problem is.
Well, and I think part of it, too, is the intimidation aspect. Whether they come or not, they love the intimidation because people will become afraid and they'll just comply. And that's part of the strategies that they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love the fear, because the fear is what makes them be able to control people.
Right. And then I guess the second thing was bothering me, and he said it out loud again, I believe it was yesterday, where he had said, hey, let's just go ahead and sell, I think it was the DC, that place, so some other people can get rich. What does he mean by that? Selling off DC so other people can get rich?
Oh, they want to make it into a. How does this go? They want to sell DC to some billionaire to develop it into a. What the heck do they call it? An America First City or something like that. It's like it's all a bunch of bullshit. Like, they're not going to be able to do that. But
right. I didn't think they could, but just him saying the quiet part out loud.
Basically,
before they wouldn't.
Basically, they want to make it into a YT, utopia. You know what I mean, Trucker?
Yeah. Well,
That's what
they've got
Aren't
that
they
going
trying-
on in Arkansas. So
Yeah. It's just if anybody tells me what's going on isn't racist, isn't sexist, isn't anti-Semitic, it's what's going on. And like you say, they're saying the quiet parts out loud, and even still, people aren't grasping it. I mean, normal people like us with average or above intelligence, but those Trumplafucks that are around 70 on the IQ level or lower, they don't grasp it. All they know is what Donald Trump says, and they like it because Donald Trump's tough. Donald Trump's not tough. You can't be 79 years old with a diaper full of shit and be tough. I'm just saying it's not possible.
Hey, well, let me ask you this. Do you think that if the NRA, if things were different and they were rounding up people with blonde hair and blue eyes, do you think the NRA would be doing the same thing they're doing now?
the first day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I say, it's about money. Everything in this government is about money. Why do we support certain things internationally that are just horrible? I'm not even going to give specifics, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because of money. Because of money.
Yeah.
Why do we let everybody have guns that wants guns? Because of money. And that's the sad thing about this country is that we've got people putting money over the safety of children, the people of this country, the economy of this country. Trucker, hang with us here. I've got somebody else I'm pulling up. I haven't heard from her in a little bit. Old Soul is with us. Old, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How's everybody?
Good.
We're doing
Hey,
good.
So how are you?
I'm good. I'm kind of sleepy, but I have a little rant. But before that, I saw a Trump humper today. And he was talking, it wasn't me he was talking to, but I overheard the conversation about JFK and all these other people coming back, helping Trump with the deep state
Jesus.
Oh my
to get rid
God.
of the cabal or whatever. And so I just interjected into the conversation. And I was like, Okay, so in 1963, he was 46 years old when he was assassinated, right?
Right.
I don't think
Right.
they knew that, but I told them. So if he is working with Donald Trump right now, he would be 108. Do
Yeah.
you think that a 108-year-old is hiding out, planning with Donald Trump to just get rid of the deep state cabal? And they
Well, they
looked at me
do.
like I was the one that was stupid.
Well, Chuck Grassley's still in the Senate, so I don't know.
I just the stupidity is getting on my nerve. But here's my rant. I feel like if Democrats take control and they start talking about reaching across the aisle, I'm gonna just lose. I'm just gonna lose it because
You
I
know
feel
what?
like
If they start reaching across the aisle, I might start reaching across and grabbing some throats.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. Take me with you. We can get locked up together. I don't give a
Yeah,
damn.
I'm right there. Don't care.
When they
I
when they reach across the aisle, break their fingers.
Yeah.
I prefer to break their nose, but fingers. I guess that'll work.
Well,
I
there is
think
no
that
reaching
with
across the aisle because there is no compromise or negotiation. That's the whole point of Congress. There hasn't been any of that in the last 10 years minimum. So why do you keep trying to do it if it doesn't
Right.
exist? It's like rule of law. Everybody goes, you can't do that because of rule of law. Surprise, there's no rule of law. There's no norms. There's no rules at all. So we might as
What-
well play in the game that we're in the middle of.
What rule of law does Donald Trump follow?
Exactly.
none.
None.
I I think with the well, I don't think I just I'm gonna lose it if Democrats do that. But at the same time, I feel like there's certain things that MAGA and Republicans cannot say, bitch, complain about none of that when Democrats are in charge. Like the "don't tread on me" people, they should never be allowed to say that word or that phrase again or go to prison if they do. Anybody who is worried about the budget, when Democrats are in charge, I don't want to hear shit about the budget. I don't want to hear anything at all about education being low and children are stressed out. I just certain stuff that they just cannot say when Democrats are in power again. And I feel like if Democrats let them do that or try to control the narrative, I'm a snap.
Do you, Old Soul, do you think we're looking at a change in the Democratic Party though? I think some of them are. I'm convinced that we've kind of outlived the usefulness of parties. It's become more individualistic. It's more about brands. It's more about influencers in politics. People loved Donald Trump because he wasn't a conservative or a Republican, but they loved him. People loved Gavin Newsom. And it's about his willingness to go after Donald Trump. I saw J.B. Pritzker go after Donald Trump. I've seen a few others go after Donald Trump, but the vast majority just sit back. They're too terrified to do anything. I think that in this country, in the next elections, those people that will get elected will be the ones that speak out, willing to fight and say the things that people want to hear. And if you're a Democrat and not willing to do that and want to play like 90s politics, you're going to fucking lose.
Yeah, I think that this cycle, they will still be like the dominant ones in the Democratic Party, and they're going to be the ones like calling the shots. And I feel like that because people are so desperate to get Republicans out of office just to like slow down the suffering that they're going through. So I think if it's anybody with a D next to their name, people are just going to vote for that. You know, vote Democrat or don't vote at all, or vote Democrat down the ticket and not really look at people's policies. I think that's what's going to keep them in the majority. But after, like, we have to do what we have to do to survive. But after that, I think it's up to us to start picking these people off because we look at Republicans right now, and when their voters and supporters like didn't start picking them off and putting people in there that we work for them and be held accountable, we see what happens when we don't do that. So I think we have to take that lesson from the Republican Party and not let the ones who is taking money from AIPAC and the rest of these people to get rid of them when we can, but I know we can't do it this cycle, unfortunately.
Well, I think what we need to do in two steps is, first of all, get rid of as many Republicans as we possibly can and make sure Democrats are in there. But if we get the Democrats in all these places and we think we won, we're safe now, you're wrong. Then what we have to do is we have to bear down and micromanage the fuck out of every Democratic candidate or every Democratic politician, because we've seen them before. They had opportunities to codify Roe v. Wade. They had opportunities to do a lot of things. They were either too lazy or paid not to do it. We've got to be in their shit all day, every day, to make sure they finally do what they're supposed to do and work for us and work for the country, as opposed to filling their pockets. And whether we're talking about Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, or whoever, these people either got to do the job or they got to fucking go.
I think they're comfortable. Like, we've allowed
Yeah.
them to get too comfortable, and they understand that when it comes to normal people, that they can kind of like sidestep and not do what it is that they know is best, and they work for us. They're able to sidestep it because the Republicans are just so crazy, and most of us feel like, well, where else are we going to go? We either go with greedy and crazy or greedy and thieves. Like, how do you pick between the two of those? And the crazy would be the most dangerous. So that's what allowed them to get comfortable, because Republicans wasn't holding their leaders accountable, but we weren't either. We weren't holding them accountable at all.
I think politicians and their attitudes were perfectly illustrated by Mitch McConnell. They passed the big, beautiful bill, and they realized that it's going to be very unpopular and it's going to cause people a lot of problems, and they might not get reelected in the midterms. So they're scared about that. Not scared enough to not vote for it, but they were scared after they voted for it. And what did Mitch McConnell say? Oh, don't worry about it. They'll get over it. And the sad part of it is there is a certain faction of this country that will just let it slide and keep moving on and keep talking the same ideology that they've been talking all along. That's the problem. Our problem isn't politicians. Our problem is uninformed, ill-informed, uninterested voters in this country. Either they don't vote or they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
It's mostly they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Honestly, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think though that there are a lot of people who are checked out, and I understand why they get checked out, because it's just for sanity purposes only. Because some of this stuff will drive you absolutely crazy. I was saying earlier with the mass resignations at the CDC, because RFK Jr. all of a sudden decided that you can't just walk into your pharmacy and get a COVID shot. What he's doing with vaccinations, and a lot of people are talking about that plague that guy got the plague from Arizona. He went back to California. And it's just kind of like stuff like that is going to start happening more and more and more.
Right.
They just don't care about that, because I'm sitting here like, when was the last time we had a plague in America? Certain diseases were eradicated because we got vaccinations. And you look at them, and this bullshit, I'm sorry, but RFK Jr. is fully vaccinated. So is his children. Fox News was the first company to say you need the mask on when you're in the building, and vaccines are mandatory. We saw Joe Rogan when he got COVID. I'm taking the vaccine, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing everything at this. And he wasn't even like symptomatic, but he was so scared that all of a sudden, boom, he would start using science to help combat the COVID that he was going through. We know Donald Trump was vaccinated. All of his family is vaccinated. Everybody that worked in the White House was vaccinated. But then they take their asses on television and say, you know what, grandma and grandpa, they're old. So when we're prioritizing people who get to live, we could just let them go. They are on national television saying this, and people still vote for them. It's insane.
Well,
and
I'm going to be...
It's called the black plague. It doesn't mean only black people get it. We all can get that.
Sure.
And we are being sick, desperate. People are hungry. People are dying from starvation, and they're still cutting benefits because they don't care. And it's pissing me off because they just lie so much. And I'm looking at him like, you are getting people killed, and you're the head of the CDC, and nobody is talking about this. Like, you gonna be burning or itching, or your member gonna fall off, or whatever.
Let's hope.
When you go untreated for these diseases that's floating around out there. It's insanity, and I see why people check out, because I feel like I'm gonna go crazy. It's insane.
I'm gonna be
Sorry.
careful. I'm gonna be careful about how I say this. So RFK wants to ban that inoculation that happened 5 years ago. So he wants to completely ban that after 1 million people died. And now, because of the rhetoric before RFK from the conspiracy theorists and all this stuff, now a lot of these other diseases are on the rebound. And Will's in the comments, blasting it out there. There's an increase in measles. There's an increase, polio. Who's heard of polio? Like, that's not a thing. And now it's
Right.
on the way, it's on the rebound. Like, why is that? But I read something recently in the last day or two that is very interesting. And it kind of debunks a lot of what RFK is saying. Is that they've recently, I think it was University of Florida, they did a trial test about the mRNA inoculation, and what they did was they're studying cancer, and what they found out is that they can use the mRNA inoculation to mimic the markers in the cancer cells. So they can give people this inoculation that they can sample the cells and these people's cancer, and they can mimic it with the mRNA inoculation. So what it will do when they inoculate the people with this injection, it will trigger an immune response in the human body that will attack the markers of that genetic line of the cancer cells. So the body will create an immune response to it was specific about brain cancer. So it'll trigger an immune response to the cancer, and the body will attack the cancer cells in the brain. That is amazing. That is an amazing scientific. If this is true, and I believe that it's true because a couple studies that I saw. If this is true, that is an innovative way to treat the most horrific disease that we are dealt with right now. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I have a two-pronged response to that. The first one was, and women, they I don't know if they haven't heard about it, but they're going to love it. However, the funding for it was cut, so we're going to have to wait. But there was they were working on like a pad, and you put this pad on every month during your menstrual cycle, and what it would do is it would read your menstrual blood, and it would be able to give people advance warnings on like women related issues such as ovarian cancer. And the problem with that is they catch it too late. So here you have a doctor or a board full of women who have come up with a way to catch it early.
Right.
And here they come cutting the grants for it.
Oh,
so
sure.
It's just like, we could just let women keep on dying until we get a Democrat Congress.
Well, the Republicans don't care about women's health. We already know that.
Oh,
They
especially
don't.
if you're after childbearing age, they really don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
then
about
you're
it.
thrown to the
Yeah.
side.
And I work
Well,
in healthcare, and we've been seeing an uptick of people going to states where it's DWD laws. And if you don't know what that is, it's dying with dignity laws. And so if you're sick, you're terminally ill with cancer, you can go to another state and you can just be like, hey, just give me the drugs that I need so I don't have to suffer and keep going through this. So there are certain states that allow that. I think the closest one to me is like California. And a lot of our seniors, like we're seeing this uptick of patients wanting to do that. And what they've been telling us is they don't want to like waste away. They don't want the last memories of themselves to be their families cleaning them up. They want them to remember them as the person that they are versus how they died. And I get that because some people really do feel that way. But you don't want to be pushed into making a decision where, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and shave a few years off of my life because I don't want my family to be stuck with these hospital bills after I die. and then the insurance company is going to come in before they give my family a payout, and they're going to pay those medical debts, and whatever left over after that, then they'll throw it to my family, however much it is that's left over. So they don't want to do that to their families. Like, people are so afraid of leaving their families destitute because of how bad crap is right now, that they're like volunteering to just die instead of fighting it, because they feel like that is easier for everybody around them, which is,
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking, and it's just so fucked up that this is happening and people really just don't care. It's insane. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Now,
Go
there's one.
ahead. That's my rant.
There's one other issue that's really causing problems and causing concern from people. It's that while this is going on, and RFK Jr. is trying to restrict did restrict who can get the vaccine. Now, I'm going to get the vaccine next month, probably. I'm 65 though, so I kind of fit in the category. But one of the things that's happening is there are people resigning from the CDC. They don't feel comfortable with what's going on. There was talk whether the head of the CDC, who was just approved in Congress, appointed by Donald Trump and approved, and she wasn't willing to do some of the things that RFK Jr. wanted to do because there's no sound reason to do it. Some people say she was fired. Some people say she resigned. Her representation came out, said neither happened. So we don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of turmoil in the CDC right now, which is in itself pretty dangerous. I'm going to pull somebody else up here. So you guys just all hang tight. Mary Beth, it will be with us. And Mary Beth's been pretty hot and heavy in the comments. Mary Beth, how you doing? What's on your
Hey,
mind?
Mary.
I'm good. No, okay. I'm on the fence because I pretty much saw where everything was heading. I put in my immigration papers to Canada. I had my second phone interview today.
Really?
The gentleman I talked to in Quebec said there is an unprecedented number of people putting in for immigration. And so we talked a little on the side, and I said, well, everybody, families, seniors, he said there's a good amount of seniors and families. But
So,
I'm going forward with it to see where it ends. Will they grant me, immigration via PR? Because I have a son and a grandchild, and my daughter-in-law. I'm afraid for them.
absolutely, absolutely. Are you do you think we're at a point here where you could actually go to them and ask for asylum, given all the terrible things that are going on? I mean, that may sound ridiculous, but is it really?
No, and I've actually thought about that, but I'm hesitant to. I was raised by my grandparents, the silent generation. I was
Right.
made to fight. Fight for my friends, fight for the citizens. Don't back down. I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
The fight
So
is
you're
weary.
thinking, if you were to immigrate to Canada, would you take your entire family with you too? All of you immigrate to get out of here?
Well, my son and daughter-in-law, they're not. Okay, my son's a millennial and his head is stuck in the sand.
Yeah.
My daughter-in-law has a better head on her shoulders. But if we're allowed to immigrate to Canada, we can then sponsor them to get them out of the country. And if things start, I mean, at the last notification that I read, and I forget his name, he was one of the professors who studied fascism, the ones that, and
Yeah.
then he left the country. I think we've hit every single one.
Wow.
And that's what's frightening.
Absolutely.
Did you have to give a reason, or it used to be like to immigrate to Canada or to apply for citizenship to Canada or anything, you had to have a skill set or something that Canada wanted, or you had to have a reasoning, or did you have to have something like that, or what?
Absolutely. And that is extremely important, but it only goes back for 10 years. Now, when I retired, I was the assistant to a division manager at telecommunications headquarters. I traveled the world, I traveled the country. I took care of moving whole divisions from state to state, building, town to town, putting things, and I parlayed that into animal rescue, which is my passion. I sit there and I do the negotiation, the work with other rescues, the work with fosters, the work with vets, trying to get deals on food from food stores, where my husband is more hands-on. He's the one that I am really hoping his skill set, because he's a 25-year Air Force veteran. He's
Yeah.
got 24 years, almost 25 years working on tankers, hydraulic expert. So I'm hoping that's going to work. He's going to get his AME license for Canada, so he can start, job searching now.
So he's got the skill set to try to pull you in there. That's good.
He's got the skill set.
Yeah.
This is something though that I didn't know when I first inquired. The person who inquires about immigration for the family, they are the lead. They're looking at that person's qualifications. So the CRIC is working to just flip us. So Cliff will be the main, because he's got the ones with the most current and most really cool skill sets that I'm hoping. And then, I can be an administrative assistant for anybody. But yeah, it is. I have 6 months to pick up French. And it's going to be, I've got 2 more calls this week, and then I think they said it's going to be like a weekly or bi-weekly phone call. And I have to get so much documentation. School records, college records, second degree certificates, passports, all of that.
Mary Beth, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You're an English speaker. Why did you choose French Canada?
I didn't.
Oh, I see.
They don't give you a choice.
Oh, okay.
I sent the original request in, and I got a call from Quebec. That was Monday night. And then tonight it's Montreal. And honestly, I am getting frightened at how rapid things are moving.
I see.
I wasn't expecting this kind of rapid movement. And my feeling is Donald Trump is going into these areas that are not white. I guarantee he is waiting for somebody to jump so he can say, look, see, and then unleash the military. I think he is that evil and he is that petty.
I think maybe he wants to do that. I don't know that he
No.
would be able to accomplish it. I mean, keep in mind, everything Donald Trump does, he fucks up. So I don't know that he'd actually be able to accomplish it, but maybe in his shriveled syphilitic mind, he may be thinking of that thing.
It's nobody's stopping him.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case, and that's the most frustrating thing. The people who could be stopping him seem to refuse to do it, either out of fear or out of complicity. I don't know which.
Have you seen those big old Trump posters and all of that other crap that he has in DC now? When I first
Yeah.
saw it, it was like leading up to his failed birthday party, and
Yeah.
where like none of his friends showed up and they didn't even have cake. But it looks like people are very comfortable with all of those signs being around, with all of the military marching through the street. Like, they are so comfortable with that, and they're so happy.
It looks like the Gestapo posters just being unfurled and the freaking
Yeah.
Gestapo pulling
Yeah,
down
they
the
do.
streets. Just freaking.
That's the best description I've heard yet.
Mhm.
When I saw them, I just thought they were garish, disgusting, and yet another reason for the world to point at us and go, yeah, you're not all that. I mean, our reputation is all but gone. And does
It really
anyone
is.
know- Does anyone know how Trump pissed off Modi? India is in India.
yeah.
India is going
Yeah, when he
to
was
stop.
lying and saying he's the one that stopped the war and all that crap.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
80% of our raw pharmaceuticals are sent to us from India. India said either earlier this week or late last week that they will no longer be shipping raw ingredients to the United States. We get 80% of the raw ingredients. The world gets 48%.
Not
We
only
can get
that, but there's countries overseas and even Germany that's like, yeah, so we're not going to ship anything to the States any longer. And my youngest daughter, she is actually in Germany, and we was joking like, oh, we need this and we need that. You could just get it and ship it to us. And when she saw that today, she was like, well, that plan isn't going to work because they're like, yeah, we're not sending you guys shit. And they're not going to do it. So it's not just them, it's other countries. And to be honest with you, I don't blame them. I would be the exact same way.
Yeah.
That's funny you mentioned that because I've been on Red Note ever since they said they were banning TikTok, 23, 24? The two things that I noticed right off the bat is number one, we have I have 10 billion new friends. Yay. They
Wow.
are conversing with us to practice their English while we are learning and picking up, bits of Mandarin. And the one thing that I'm seeing now is the Chinese nationals are saying, hey, we're really sorry if you need something. And over on Red Note, we're starting to set up shopping clubs. So we want
Oh.
something from China. We go to friends and get them money. They send it and they mail it to us. They want something from America. They send us money. We go buy it. We send it to them. I'm hoping that it actually will come to fruition because right now, I know I'm using it for things that aren't available here.
Well, the people will figure out ways to get around some of this bullshit ultimately. Mary Beth, I got a few more people I got to get up here, but I thank you for coming on and please come back. It's always great to hear from you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Have a good night, everyone.
Hey,
All right,
Trucker,
thank you.
Trucker, I have a question. Did you see what happened with Delaware? And I was just trying to see what's your take on that. What do you think? What do you think they're gonna do?
As far as, give me a little substance to that.
So it came out, and then Delaware they did like confirm that this is verified and it's true. Is that Donald Trump has been conspiring to take over Delaware, and so they came out and talked about his espionage in Delaware. So I'm just asking for you, as like a veteran, what do
I
you
got
think
you.
is going to happen now that they've confirmed the espionage?
Okay, so yeah, Greenland is what we're talking about, right? Yeah, I did
Yeah,
hear about that.
Delaware confirmed it, but yeah, same thing.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's bad. Nothing good comes out of that, right? There's laws on the books regarding it. We know he doesn't follow the laws, but the United Nations follows the laws. Greenland, the chancellor called an emergency meeting this morning, so nothing's good going to come out of that. And as you can tell, they tried to bury that story under a rock today because that should have been the biggest thing that was talked about. But that story is so far under, you can't have people going around. I mean, it's just like having Russian spies here, right? You can't do it.
Right.
That's one of the worst things he can do. And I'm surprised that there's
And that's
not more
international law,
backlash.
right?
Yeah, that's
That's
international law.
international.
This dude's cooked.
He
One-
can't
and it's not going to
control
go
that.
away. Yeah, this is not going to go away. It's not like how they control the media here and hush hush. This doesn't go away. And the people that they had doing that, man, I hope they got paid because they're going to need some serious lawyers.
Wow.
Yeah, I brought up C Temptation. C Temptation, how you doing? What's on your mind?
What's going on, Mike? Hey, Trucker, Old Soul, TJ, Rebecca, and everybody in the
Hey,
chat.
C.
Happy Wednesday. How you doing? Kind of going back to kind of pivoting back to the issue what happened in Minneapolis because I did a couple of videos on that. Plus, I did one video talking about a story in Chicago where a student. Is that I hear some buzzing or something in the phone? Is that me?
I don't hear it, so I'm
Okay,
not
it's off
sure.
now. Never
No,
mind.
it's not you, see. It was happening before you.
Okay. No, because I reported a story about a student in Chicago where the student got into a fight with someone, and the student had left the scene, and then he came back with he was traveling in the car with 5 other people and had a weapon, and I don't know what happened with that. And I thought about the story about what happened in Minneapolis, and I'm like, when is this going to stop? And then just imagine how many cases we've had in Chicago in the past about, kids and these homicides, kids under 18, getting unalived. And it's just getting out of hand now. And I just told,
Yeah.
my subscribers, reach out to your officials because it's just, they need to tighten up on the laws.
It's outrageous. See, hang on with us. I'm going to pull up two more people because I'm getting closer to the end. We got a little time yet, but I want to make
Okay.
sure these two folks get up too, and we can all kind of talk about what's going on. The first one is Eric from Iowa,
Eric,
analytical Iowan, and Shell from LA.
what up,
So the
Shell?
gang's all here.
What's
the gang's
up?
all here.
What up, peoples?
So Shell, what's on your mind today?
So I kind of want to talk about the fact that the California Supreme Court denied the Republicans' request to stop the redistricting vote in November
Right.
here in California. I don't know if you guys already talked about that.
No, we haven't.
It looks like that will be going forward. They didn't get the votes that they wanted. I think that I don't know about all over the country because last night in Truckers Live, we talked about the fact that the Republicans are outnumbering the Democrats 2-1 in voter registration. And I know that doesn't always transfer to votes, but it
Right.
caused me to have a moment to stop and think, and maybe it caused me to worry a little bit about the outcome of what's coming forward. And I think it was all three live from last night that convinced me, no, we're going forward, we're going to be okay. And I'm seeing little things all over the country that are now starting to come to fruition that are looking like it's going to maybe go in our favor. What happened in Iowa, what happened today in California with the Supreme Court. They're little small victories, but they're still victories.
Right.
Right.
And that's
Well,
what I'm looking for.
it seems like a trend, is what you're saying. A trend that areas that would normally go red are now going blue, or the red is losing a lot of ground. And there's a lot more ground to be lost between now and 2026 with all the horrific shit going on. I think there is a trend going on, and that's hopeful. But we were hopeful on November 5th, too. So I'm cautiously hopeful at this point.
Well, I even mentioned that last night on the live. I said straight out, I said even Mike thought Kamala was going to win, and it didn't end up being that way for us, which was
Yeah.
as we all know, quite a bummer. I think she would have made a good president. I really
I think she would have made a great president.
Yeah, I do too. I think she would have been tough. I think you already said this, but I think the Democratic Party really restricted her from doing the things that she needed to do. They wouldn't let her talk about the differences between her policies and Biden's policies, and I think that hurt her a lot.
Oh yeah, and I don't think the Democratic Party in Washington D.C. was fully behind her. I mean, I
No.
think a lot of people thought, "Hey, it's my turn," or "I should be up there," or "That's why we should have primaries." But given the circumstances, what they did with her was the only option to get somebody ramped up in quick order and then get them to run in the race. I mean, let's be honest. The Democrats are the reason we were put in that position because what they did to Joe Biden. So now they had to act quickly within 3 months' time, and the only option was the vice president. You can bitch about primaries all you want, but you fucking Democrats that talk shit about Joe Biden put us in that position. And that's why I hold the Democrats responsible for the loss in November.
You know what? Let me kind of add on that, Mike, because this is inside information, and I received that. Found out that, of course, everybody quite knows that the election was stolen, and Kamala Harris, she had requested for a recount, and then when she brought this up, then the Democrats turned around and told her no. So it's kind of like a little combination of all of those things.
You know, I've
Yeah,
heard
but
that
I think
story. I've heard that story, and I think I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or a real story or
No,
whatever.
that's a
But I
straight
will.
backstory. I got inside information on it. Go ahead.
Hold on. My point of it is what makes it all suspicious is that we were getting results very early, far earlier than we normally would get them, and there was no pushback from the Democrats. So whether they pulled back on it, I don't know. And if they pulled back on it, that tells me one thing. The Democrats said, okay, they want Donald Trump as president of the United States. Go ahead. You motherfuckers suffer through this and we'll come out the other side. I really feel like that sometimes. They go, you voted for him, so fuck off. You go ahead and suffer. And that's pretty much what's happened. And that's why they continue to lay back. They're going to let Donald Trump and the Republicans destroy themselves while destroying this country. And then they're going to come in and say, okay, we can save everything now. And this is why I don't trust all Democrats either at this point.
Well,
Agreed.
the only Democrats that's really standing for a strong are the 23 governors, the attorney generals, and the non-for-profit organizations. Now, in terms about
Yeah.
those Democrats that's in Congress right now, they're very dysfunctional. They're very dysfunctional, and I don't understand them. I really don't.
No,
Well,
I
if
don't
you
either.
look at the problem that they have with Joe Biden, is because they assumed he was going to be a centrist, but when he got in office, he was doing very progressive things that they didn't
Yeah.
like, and they knew that that Kamala Harris would just be a continuation of that. Because one of the things that she did was she was talking about the hedge funds and how they buy up all this property and housing even affordable single family houses and stuff. That she was putting a plan together where they would only be allowed to have 10 properties. And then that way we would have more options. And they were threatened by that as well, especially when she was saying, making college more affordable. Those are things that corporate Democrats do not like, and that's the problem they have with Biden. And they did not want Kamala to come in and start doing more progressive things that'll help us, but it'll slow down that tap of income that they get on the side.
And then on
Absolutely.
top,
We,
go ahead.
I was just going to say we have Eric with us too, and I want to give him a chance to talk. So, Eric, tell us what's on your mind here.
Well,
Hey, Eric.
just listening to you guys. The thing about Kamala, I think you and I talked about it on the podcast, is what they should have done is Joe Biden should have just straight resigned, let her run the country and campaign from the position of POTUS. Then he could do what he was going to do, go from there. And that's really what should have happened there. I said that going into it, that whoever wanted Joe Biden to resign, they better be right, or we're going to lose. He should have either stayed in the race, or he should have resigned completely, because half of the complaints we got were, well, you didn't give us a primary, and then you had people who tried to use that as an excuse to not vote for him. The other problem is, like what we're already seeing with Gavin Newsom, even though he's not even announced that he's running, he's the only person that's putting up a huge fight. The people that are saying he might be the contender, there are other people saying, well, I'm not voting for Gavin. He's not progressive enough. He's not this. He's not that. You have to make steps forward. You can't keep just saying, well, I didn't get the perfect candidate, so I'm not voting for the Democrat.
Right.
Well, Eric, you got a big win yesterday in Iowa.
Yes, we did. We broke the Republican
Yep.
supermajority here.
Caitlin, what is it? Catalin or Caitlin Dre? What's her name?
Caitlin Gray, I believe.
Yeah.
She won a district that was Trump plus 12. in November.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yep. And
It
this
is
is the
by
second.
double digits as well, I think.
I never saw the final percentage, so I'm not 100% sure. But this is the second special election this year that we have had in Iowa for a state Senate seat that were Republican districts that were 60% for Trump that the Democrats flipped.
That again, it's like what I said, Eric, in the show today, and what I said just a moment ago. I don't know if we can jump for joy, but it does seem like there's a trend starting here, which is hopefully going to continue.
Mike, can I add something else on to the comment? I think another point is because I really think that the Americas was not ready for the first black female president. But you have a president in Mexico, but why is it that you can't give this lady a chance?
Well, I think there's a fair amount of racism and certainly sexism in this country. I've said before,
Yeah.
Kamala, I think she lost more because she was a woman than because she was a woman of color. I think adding those two together made it difficult for a lot of people in this country that are dumb fucks that just, as
Of
you say,
course.
didn't want to vote for a black woman to be president of the United States. No reason for it, no substance to it. That's just who they are. And that's the unfortunate thing. We have more racist, more sexist, more stupid people in this country than I ever imagined. And that's one of the things I found the most disappointing after the November 5th election. Holy fuck, we got some dumb people in this country.
Absolutely, because I really believe that if Kamala would have, if they didn't tamper with those elections, and knowing we know that Kamala was, really the president, we wouldn't even be in half of the positions that we would be in now, though, if she was in office.
Oh, hell no.
That's
It would be a
true.
much
I don't
different
think-
situation.
Exactly.
I don't think there was anything that she can do. Like, I really don't, because you see people right now who, they still haven't gotten FEMA aid, and they're worrying about how they're going to eat. If they do get snapped, what limitations is going to be on that? Like, they're losing their farms. And when people say to them, I regret voting for Trump, and then you follow that up and say, well, do you wish you voted for Harris? No, I just would rather have not voted at all. So there was nothing that she could have done, because if you are desperate right now and you got the plague running around the country and all this crazy crap, and you still can't say that you would have voted for her, there was absolutely nothing that she could have done. It just wasn't going to happen. No matter what, they would not vote for her.
I think anybody thinking that we're going to get Republicans to vote Democrat, that's not going to happen. We've seen it over and over again. But if they just chose not to vote, I'd be cool with that. Don't
Hey,
vote.
Mike,
Yeah.
have you talked about that love fest of a cabinet meeting that we had this week?
No, I haven't. That was a fucking shit show. Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing was about, okay, what can you say nice about Donald Trump now? It was really kind of pathetic watching it.
It was, and I actually felt sorry for the two closest people to him. I really did. Little Marco, and I think
Was he spanking?
Yes, that guy. You can feel it coming through the TV. I felt it coming through, and I'm like, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It's
Donald
disgusting
Trump-
in so many different ways that, oh, Mr. President, we thank you for your leadership. We thank you for your greatness. We thank you for blah, 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 fucking blah. It made me sick.
Get the hell out of
TJ,
here.
do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about the labor secretary in the cabinet meeting?
No, I don't want to fucking talk about that until after Monday.
What?
Was that the one where he was flirting with Pam Bondi?
Yes, that was that.
I know
Oh,
you're
jeez.
pissed, TJ.
I can't stomach watching it.
I can't comment about it until Tuesday.
Yeah, but Rebecca can.
No, she can't.
I know, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I'm going to give Donald Trump a new name, given his propensity to shit his pants. I think henceforth we should call him Squishy.
Ew.
You know what?
I'm going to start calling him Squishy all the time.
I'm not
One
even
of
going
the
to ask
things-
why.
one of the seniors, she actually calls it an Oval Office orgy. Like that's what she called it. She was like, because they were
Wow.
literally like taking turns. And I'm like, okay, that's gross. But that's how she described it. I was just like, when you think about it, yeah. But I mean, it turns your stomach how groveling and like no respect for themselves at all on national television doing this.
Oh,
Well, and that's,
Gabrielle said
that's a
squishy cankles.
squishy cankles,
I don't
orange
know if that's,
squishy.
I
I'm
don't know
down
if
for
that's
all
what
that
we
stuff.
his
You know
his
what got me?
ankles
Orange squishmallow.
Oh
but
You
gosh.
know
his
what
ankles
got?
are like falling out of
Damn.
his shoes. Like his ankles is like pouring off out the side of his shoes. Like it's not even cankles, it's like elephant trunks or something.
You
Like
know,
it's weird that how do your ankles not fit in your shoe? I don't know.
uh, you know what got me thinking about the term squishy is my wife and I got a new job together. We're going to be. We started today. We're watching our 3-month-old grandson for a few months, so he's older when he finally goes to daycare. So I'm sitting there, and of course, my grandson at 3 months, pretty much all he does is eat, poop, pee, and sleep, and then he just starts back over. And it reminded me when my kids were young, and it was a little squishy going there when they run into a bad stretch in terms of the diaper and maybe not holding on to it. And I was thinking, God damn it, what if Donald Trump was doing that? And I had to give my daughter-in-law a report after watching the baby, and she said, "How did it go?" And I said, "Well, he's 3 months old. This is the first day. I will tell you this: he's really not grasping potty training yet, and he does." And he doesn't quite yet have the fine motor skills to learn the gang signs I was teaching him. And I don't know that she's maybe rethinking. Maybe Mike, you stay home and just send Cindy because.
Yeah.
But as I'm sitting there with this baby, who's adorable, and I love this baby, and I'm thinking of him going to the bathroom in his pants because he's a fucking baby. And I think our president is doing the same fucking thing as we speak.
Yeah, he's doing worse, Mike. There's a new
He's
report
doing-
out. I want to get serious about this report. There's a new report
Okay.
out that says that he now wears his shoes on the wrong foot. I swear to God, I saw that
Oh
today.
wow! I know you
Why would
pulling
he
my
do that?
leg, P. I know you pulling my leg.
They said they saw him wearing his shoes on the opposite foot. I don't get it.
Does it matter at this point? His feet and ankles are so
That
swollen.
shows you right there.
Does it like does he even have like a
Oh.
right and left foot?
His
Oh, my
cognitive
God.
is declining. That's what dementia patients do, and I'm just telling you this from experience.
His left and right foot are the same shape.
Oh,
Well,
Daniel.
and I think the thing about it is a guy like him who's wealthy would always wear these expensive shoes, but when I look at his shoes, they look like Frankenstein Velcro old people shoes you get from fucking Walmart. I mean, they're ugly and they're big. They look like, he's like a weeble. He's got the pear-shaped body, and then he has the audacity. He has the audacity to get on J.B. Pritzker because he's fat. Please, motherfucker, pot kettle.
Yeah. Or
Look
when he
who's
talked
calling
about
the pickle
Newsom's
sour.
hands.
I
And
mean,
when he
really.
talked
Yeah.
about Newsom's hands, how do you talk about Gavin Newsom's hands when your hands look like you are decaying? I'm in a true crime and I see some crazy stuff, but I know that when you die, like your body goes through different stages. It looked like he's already on stage 2, but he ain't even in the ground yet. Like, how are you decaying in front of us? I said it before and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it again. He casket ready. He casket
Yeah,
ready.
he's decaying so much he's almost a borderline zombie. Where the
Yeah.
shit's falling off his face and
The
stuff.
birdie.
When people, where they got the jokes about the hands. There was somebody I don't know who it was, some European person that knew Donald Trump years and years and years and decades ago, and he referred to Donald Trump as a short-fingered vulgarian, and That's a perfect thing. He is a vulgarian, and he is short-fingered, and he is just. When I looked at that cabinet meeting, and I'm looking at all these people. These people have to know this is absolutely pathetic. This is absolutely embarrassing, but they're willing to put themselves through it. What are they going to do when that final day happens, that joyous day where there will be dancing in the streets? What do they do at that point? Do they immediately go against Donald Trump, or do they own what they did and never work again?
Well, JD will be getting off the couch and washing his hands and hoping that he gets the same treatment.
And and this is a question I have though. When that time comes when Donald Trump makes his transition, is he going to keep all the members of the administration, or is he going to terminate them, or what's he going to do?
Now,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
assume that JD Vance would probably work toward replacing him, depending on how much time he has left. If he's only got 2 months till the November election, maybe not. If it happens in January of next year, probably starts replacing him with people that are better qualified. He's going to be able to get better qualified people.
Absolutely.
Because as evil as he potentially could be, one, he doesn't have the reputation of Donald Trump.
No.
And other people are going to be willing to work with him. So he could maybe legitimize himself. I think the Republican Party is going to want to try to legitimize J.D. Vance as a potential candidate. So they're going to want to put decent people around him so he's making better choices. And he's going to use information that's given to him. He's not going to be like Donald Trump, where you got to say to him, well, Donnie, you're going to look like a winner if you do things this way, or you'll look like a loser if you do that. You can give J.D. Vance information, and he's at least smart enough to understand what he's being given and make decisions. So I think he would try to get better people unless it's really close to the election. And then the only way he would get better people is if he ends up winning re-election, which I just do not see happening.
No, he doesn't have it in him to win re-election at this point. Definitely does not.
I watch Russian TV, and they are already looking past Trump. They mention J.D. Vance a lot more now, and I don't know the significance behind this, but they keep bringing up Marco Rubio's name, and they keep saying that he has to go. So I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes or anything like that, but they are preparing for Trump to leave, and it looks like they are promoting J.D. Vance, and for some reason they don't like Marco Rubio. So I'm just assuming maybe it's something behind the scenes between Rubio and Putin that's making them want to get rid of him as soon as Donald Trump is
So when you say you watch Russian TV, like, do you watch do you speak Russian, or you watch it with like subtitles?
Yeah, I just turn the captions on and watch it.
Okay, so you're getting like you're kind of getting. I'm sure
The
it doesn't
translation.
translate exactly. So
Yeah.
So if they're like talking about Marco Rubio, they're probably thinking that he might be the Republicans' next move. And then, and maybe that's not what they want.
Or
Well,
maybe,
the interesting thing is,
Marco
the
Rubio
interesting thing is,
he
Yeah.
knows better, and he's less. I don't think they can control him as much as they think they can control J.D. Vance, and they damn sure know they can't control him the way that they control Trump.
Well, I mean,
Well, the
not for nothing.
frightening
but
thing-
in my mind, I would think Marco Rubio would be probably one of the Republicans' best freaking bets.
yeah, and
But
he's
the Russians don't
horrible.
want that.
Well, because
Terrible,
he's
but as far as like anybody in the Republican Party.
well, they don't want Marco Rubio because he's smart, even though he's a sycophant. He's smarter than J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance doesn't know fuck all about anything because he was a senator for a short time. He's a tech bro. And the scary thing about it is what we know of Donald Trump and this Republican Party, they're pretty much controlled by Vladimir Putin in Russia. So maybe they're onto something. Maybe we should pay more attention to what they're saying. Maybe they have some insight of what's going to happen.
I think you know what it is, Mike. I think what they're doing is probably like having more like behind the scenes discussions, and they're probably making preparations because they know though eventually, if Trump doesn't resign, then he's going to make his transition, and then they're going to have to bring somebody in, to take over.
Yeah. Yeah, I think JD Vance has some problems too if he takes over. He's been complicit in a lot of things. He's not too smart. While the tech bros may love JD Vance, I have a feeling that the members of Congress aren't going to be fans. And when he calls up and says, pass this bill, they're going to say, fuck off, tech boy. That's, they're just.
More importantly, though, the media is not going to give JD Vance the same grace or mark anybody the same grace that they give to Trump. And the reason that I know that is because when JD Vance is having an event by himself and the press is asking him questions, they're asking him questions that they would not dare ask Donald Trump. So if he is put in the presidency, the media is going to be hounding him with questions. In addition to that, MAGA doesn't have anybody to blame for their crap right now. But when you put JD Vance up there, they will have no problem blaming him for crap that they would not blame Donald Trump for. So that completely flips the narrative.
There'll be a dog pile on JD Vance, and he doesn't have the power to fight it off. I tell you what, I'm going to wrap things up for this live of the Rational Boomer podcast. I want to thank Shell, Sea Temptation, Eric, Old Soul, Trucker T, Rebecca, TJ the Plumber, and everybody else that helped out with the live today. I enjoy doing these because I get to hear from a lot of people and I learn a lot, and it's very helpful to me. It's helpful to me to come up with new ideas for TikToks tomorrow after doing something like this, so that's cool. So thanks to all of you for showing up and all of you that spent time watching. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Hope you have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.